the mayor of Rancho Cordova, David Sander.
Now, how am I possibly supposed to follow into that? The smartest thing would probably be to sit down and say, "Good night, all. Thanks for coming." Wow. Incredible. I owe a lot of people money, I think, carrying that carry. So maybe I don't want to get down from here. All right. Well, you're welcome to the 2024 State of the City Science Fair. So you're probably wondering what we mean by science fair. I'll get to that in a little bit in my remarks. That'll come in a moment. But I've got to thank some very special people who you just heard from. Shelley Blanchard of the Cordova Community Council, Diane Rogers of the Rancho Cordova Area Chamber of Commerce, and all of their staff for organizing all of this and making Rancho Cordova the funnest place on earth yet again. Thank you guys. And a lesson I actually learned from a long-term friend of mine, Senator Nilo, in the back of the room. You never, ever want to do one of these speeches without thanking the most important people in the room. And you know who that is? My long-suffering wife, Dr. Margaret Parsons, here in the front row. Without whom none of this year or any of this Rancho Cordova activity would be possible. So thank you for that. All right, now back to this evening. Here we are. We chose Science Fair as our theme for the 2024 State of the City because, as you may remember, when I became president of the National League of Cities, and I happen to be a scientist, a virologist actually, so it's been an interesting few years. A virologist is a scientist who studies viruses, but you all know that already, right? Because now we're all virologists. That's how that turned out. I didn't realize it until later. But you know, at that Cordova Community Council luncheon, way back at the beginning of the year, we kicked this off, and the theme for my year as president of the National League of Cities was Cities as Laboratories of Democracy. And I'm glad the Supreme Court Justice Brandeis got so close to getting it right so that I could come along and fix it. Just so history records that local government really is the place where innovation happens. It really is the place where quality of life is made and determined. And it's the place where we have to constantly innovate or we do not do well. And so in Rancho Cordova tonight, we're going to talk about a lot of innovation, a lot of things we've done, but it all has that context of being a place where we need to innovate and do better and find better options for our residents. So with that, you know, cities like Rancho Cordova are always places for discovery. We've got the opportunity to explore, to test new ideas, see what contributes to our broader understanding of the world, even in local government. And as I've traveled around the country this year, I have seen so many cities and towns, hundreds of them in my travels. Big, little, everything in between. And I'm more convinced than ever that cities are the places where transformative change happens in our society. And that regardless of the size of the city, all cities are essentially grappling with the same set of problems. They'll have a different spice, a different flavor, a different geography, a different political environment, but we all have the same challenges all over the country. And most importantly, we're all working on solutions to those challenges. So tonight, the focus though is not going to be on hundreds of cities around the country, it's going to be on our laboratory right here in Rancho Cordova. So you got to experience a little bit of science fair outside. You're going to experience a little more science fair here. And you're going to see some of the many ways we're experimenting with new techniques, new methods, new projects, trying to bring the best services and outcomes to our residents and businesses here in Rancho Cordova. And so now I'm really excited to share with you some of the many successes of 2024 and to let you know how our science experiment is going here in Rancho Cordova. Now, the shocking thing for me is that this is 21 years of cityhood. 21 years since we incorporated. And we have come a long way, a really long way. 2024 has been a pivotal year for growth, innovation, and evolution in our city. This year, for example, we moved from at-large districts, at-large elections, to district elections, which means that now there are 5 city council members representing Rancho Cordova, but that they will each represent a district within Rancho Cordova and be elected from that district. Another amazing change since when we incorporated is that we have had a 47% growth in population since incorporation. That is a shocking graph, if you can make out the figures from where you were. We are now over 82,000 residents. That tremendous growth is driving housing development, business development, economic opportunity, quality of life enhancements, and now more than ever, our focus as a community has to be future forward. The city has begun, for example, its general plan update and its active transportation plan. That kicked off in August. First community meeting was held in October. We had a record attendance at that meeting. Now, you might think that's a dry and not exciting place to go, but this is where you can participate as citizens, as partners here at Rancho Cordova, to have a voice about the future of this community. You know, a lot of governments, a lot of elected officials hear from the residents on a regular basis and sort of respond with the, oh, you got a problem? I got a program. That cycle goes on and on. And the reality is, government really never has a complete solution to the problem, but we will fake it with a program. Right? That's all, it's just reality. How do we get past that? We get past that by engaging in we. Right? Residents of Rancho Cordova hired a city council to do the things that they couldn't do for themselves. It's basically what it comes down to. This is one way that we interface. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't, to participate in those sorts of meetings, whether it be a general plan update or active transportation plan or any other neighborhood meeting. I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of them that we've done in this year. This is one of the many ways you can communicate with us. So also in our 21st year, I am pleased to report the financial health of our city is again incredibly robust. While other cities in the region are searching the couch cushions, trying to find enough change to keep the lights on, and I'm only kind of kidding about that, it is great to be a resident of Rancho Cordova, where our city's financial stability rests on proper planning, good diversified revenue streams, and where we have always had a budget surplus. It's really a point of pride for us, our financial stability. You know, with a population of 82,109 and 3,500 businesses, and a workforce that's somewhere over 63,000, it's surprisingly hard to count that. We are the largest private sector jobs concentration in Northern California, and all that means that our revenue streams are really diverse. We're kind of protected from some waves in the economy. And new growth and development activity in our city are enhancing that and creating all-time highs for revenue as well as demands for services. So general fund revenues have increased 31% over just the last 5 years. Our fiscal year 23-24 ended with a $3 million projected revenue over the projection and a $4 million expenditure cost under what was in the budget, which means, you do the quick math, we had a $7 million surplus last year as a city, which means that we can make strategic investments in things other cities around us cannot do. In addition, your city is very focused on identifying grant opportunities, and we are shockingly successful. No one showed this outside the room. We are shockingly successful at getting them. We hit way above and beyond where we should in terms of our size and our strength. And it's a couple of examples. We were successful in earning $2 million in federal grants for the Rancho Cordova Youth Center, Mather Veterans Village, and the Rossmore Trails project last year. And in partnership, this is a big one, in partnership with the Capital Southeast Connector, we were successful in earning something we had basically no right to win a $25 million federal grant to enhance Grant Line Road, which is a dangerous corridor in our community. And this is an enormous win to make Grant Line safer for our residents and for the region. As a city, one of our core functions is to build and restore infrastructure and maintain it. Streets, sidewalks, we're creating safe routes to schools, we're making sure that you can walk your dog, ride your bike, jog, drive, conduct business on safe and solid infrastructure. And this is a challenge that exists, it's a serious challenge that exists for every city, every jurisdiction in the United States. What I found out, and part of my tour, is that Rancho Cordova's innovation is kind of head and shoulders above what the standard probably is in the United States. We are innovative in the way we approach maintaining our facilities and in our ability to fund it. We are innovative in how we maintain it. So the last fiscal year was particularly busy with infrastructure projects. Last year, just last year, we invested $27.3 million in infrastructure projects. That's $2.3 million more than the previous year. I'm going to tell you about some of these. And I would sort of appreciate it if you've seen this or driven on it. I'd love to see a show of hands. So, the Matherfield Road Rehabilitation Project. So that's a resurfaced road. Look at all those hands, new landscaping. You have seen it now from International Drive all the way up to Folsom Boulevard. There's more to come, but doesn't it look great?
Yes.
We also completed, now none of you have probably heard of this, we also completed the Sunrise Culvert Repair Project. How many people witnessed that? Exactly. But it's important to mention to you, for those of you who don't know what a culvert is, it's a pipe that allows a waterway like a creek or drainage to, pass or flow underneath the road. And over on Sunrise, there's a recycle road basin and there's a culvert that goes underneath Sunrise. The problem was that was an old culvert installed by the county probably 30 or 35 years ago, and it was failing. So the culvert was getting scrunched. Normal process would have been tear up Sunrise, you can imagine this, tear up Sunrise, take that out, put the new one in, fix Sunrise. You imagine with the volume of traffic on Sunrise how much disruption that would have been? But we're innovative in Rancho Cordova. We found a local company with new technology that allowed them to use centrifugal force to spray concrete inside of the culvert, in essence making a new pipe inside the pipe. And that image on the upper right is how we did that. So we saved you the knowledge of the project, that's good. We also saved a whole bunch of money, and we boosted a local company with a new technology. That is innovation in infrastructure. We're also nearing the completion of Chrysanthi Boulevard. Anybody seeing that or affected by that? A few hands have gone up, very good. Now that's a new connection to homes and neighborhoods in the southeasternmost part of the city. The extension is a partnership between the city and the developers who are building out there, and I'm pleased to announce it's going to open in early December, for those of you who had your hands up. We are also under construction for a new connection along Chase Drive to the American River Parkway. So this goes right in front of Grove High School, between Coloma Road, all the way to the American River Parkway. It's a multi-use path, and it's being added to Chase Drive from Coloma Road, all the way to the American River Parkway. It includes new lighting, it's ADA accessible, it has new curb ramps, high visibility crosswalks, trees, landscaping, wrought iron fencing instead of the ugly chain link that was there before. It's going to make that an attractive way for more neighborhoods to get easy access to the American River Parkway and allow kids to get to school safer. So it is a win-win, and again, supported by grant dollars from outside of the city. We're also under construction with phase 2 of the Sunrise Boulevard Improvement Project. That has $7.3 million worth of grant funding. Phase 2 began construction this past summer. It includes overlaying the existing pavement, fixing the median, which Linda could say was probably put down in 1994, due for rehabilitation, and it's also getting a, that extends from White Rock Road to Douglas, and it's getting a complete overlay as well on the pavement. We're also under design and construction. This is an exciting one because this is a long-term effort for the countryside neighborhood road rehabilitation. So for those of you who have seen these elsewhere, we go into a neighborhood, we evaluate every single road, repave where necessary, resurface where necessary, new ADA improvements, new crossings, new safety features, new lights, new signs, whatever is necessary to upgrade the road network in the entire community. The Countryside Neighborhood Road project is our 15th neighborhood to be done, and we are almost finished resurfacing every road in Rancho Cordova. That's taken us about a decade to get done. It's $12.3 million just for that neighborhood, to give you an idea. But we are really excited to be able to accomplish that for our residents. And the best feedback I got about that was from an Uber driver. I'm coming from the airport. Now, we all live in Rancho Cordova, right? Some of us a long time. Coming from the airport, and the Uber driver said, doesn't know who I am, just knows we're driving towards Rancho Cordova. He says, you know how you know when you're in Rancho Cordova? And if you've been here a long time, you know, you have that kind of thought. Like, okay, hit me. And he says, you know you're in Rancho Cordova when the roads are beautiful and smooth. We gave him a new house in Anatolia. Seriously, I mean, I don't know how you get better feedback than something like that to some of the efforts you've done. I think, honestly, someone like that experiencing it has a better feel for it, like as an observation, than those of us who live here. Because for us, it's slow change over time. For them, it's more of an abrupt thing, like, wow, look at that. Yeah, very nice. That actually ranks up there with the largest or the strongest criticism I got the last time I was mayor. I got a criticism. We remodeled Folsom Boulevard, and a constituent who will remain unnamed, and I don't think is present, emailed me and said, what are you doing on Folsom Boulevard? You know, you're keeping that place so nice out there, it looks like Disneyland. Again, I don't know of any better criticism than that, you know? Like, if they're confusing Folsom Boulevard with Disneyland, I think we're doing a good job. Oh yeah, anybody else got any feedback like that, feel free to contact me. It's a good thing. All right, the final infrastructure project I'm going to talk about tonight is definitely an innovative one. It's in planning and design. It's going to go into construction in summer of 2005. It is the Zinfandel pedestrian overcrossing. Now that doesn't sound that exciting, right? Go ahead and applaud if you know what it's about. This is is the state senator still here? This is kind of one of those things we probably shouldn't have gotten funding for, but we did, because we applied when no one else would have. It's the lowest image here on the screen. It's going to be a new overcrossing for bikes and pedestrians across Highway 50 at Zinfandel. There's nothing currently there that's very safe or good. So that alone is great. But our application included an architecturally significant bridge design. You may not be able to make it out completely in this image, but it is a crossing over arch. So you've heard about, significant bridges elsewhere. This is the sort of project and design that people will come to see. And to be sure that that means something, we're not just building an overcrossing. We're going to use that overcrossing like a linear gallery. Think of it as an outdoor art gallery with huge spaces that we're able to partner with artists. We've already started this nationally, internationally, to exhibit art along this corridor. This can be an event space for the art, as well as a normal transportation corridor for people who work on one side of Zinfandel and want to have lunch on the other. It's a great addition, and frankly, other cities would not perhaps have been as daring to put an application like that. We were. It was an innovative design and idea. State chose to fund it, and now we're going to have something that is a significant enhancement to the front doorstep of Rancho Cordova and will change our image in the region as a result. All right, we're going to move on from infrastructure to some community development projects, and these are also pretty innovative. So Mather Veterans Village, we all know about Mather Veterans Village, show of hands? Housing for homeless veterans, right? We are now planning phase 4 of that project. So this is going to give housing to low-income veterans and their families. We've made a lot of progress this year. We've secured some housing vouchers that are federally based. We got $1 million federal grant. We acquired some county funding, and the land has been purchased. We're working on the EAR and securing additional funding sources before we can get it going. But it is a go. It's just a matter of time to finish Mather Veterans Village Phase 4. We're also still working on the Mills Crossing program. In 2024, Mills Crossing, now this is at Matherfield Road and Folsom Boulevard, the big open space there. This year, we did a lot of updates to figure out what sort of contracts we could have with partners for using space at the site, but we passed a bunch of other milestones as well. It's passed through the City Council, it's passed through the Planning Commission. We've submitted the entitlement package to people who need to oversee it. The EIR, the environmental document, is circulating. All this stuff takes an enormous amount of time, particularly that state EIR process, Mr. State Senator. And we are also getting additional grants for the project. Did anyone happen to see the giant hole we dug? See the hole? I don't know where Mike is sitting, but I told my city manager, just leave it, that's underground parking. Right? Just pave that over. It was enormous. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. You could park 100 cars in that thing. The hole was so giant. It's because there was a dry cleaner there before. There was some soil contamination, and we got a state grant, not our money, not taxpayer money, not ours, to dig all of that out, treat it, and level it. That project is now done, so the project is closer to moving on. Now, I don't know how many of you were with us in January, but every year I say, sometimes things do not work out as we planned. And it's really important that we do that, because if we do not push to the boundary of something and have something that, screws up now and then, we're not trying hard enough. Right? Because if you don't take a risk, you never progress. You gotta take a little risk. And what does risk mean? Something cannot turn out quite the way you anticipated. Right? The smart thing to do is to learn from that, apply it, do it better, make it better for your residents. That's part of what being in an experiment is about, being a laboratory. So, here's an example. Every year I always promise in January I will mention something that didn't go as planned. So here's something that is not going quite as planned. We have a very innovative partnership that's called the Rancho Cordova Fiber City Project. I heard some noises there. So this project is installing fiber, like internet fiber, like the fastest possible internet technology, to every address in Rancho Cordova. Home, business, apartment, every address. Everyone's going to have access to this. But to do that, they have to dig a little tiny trench on every street in Rancho Cordova to put the fiber in the street. They do it right between the asphalt and the concrete. And the way in which they've done that has been messy, and perhaps unavoidable in some sense, but they have broken sprinkler systems, they have hit unexpected underground barriers. We've had people complaining about noise early in the morning and dust when they're making the cut, and then they didn't fix it right. And to top it all off, there's a PUC issue with getting the fiber under the railroad tracks along Folsom Boulevard. That's causing a delay. So all those things factored in, this is not rolling out the way we anticipated. It's going to take longer. It's not going to cost us anymore because it's their project. And they're maintaining their guarantee to get to every single address in Rancho Cordova, but it's going to take longer than we anticipated. It's not going to be done in 2025 is our estimation. It'll probably be 2026. Right now, just for your information, they're about 35% of the way there. So if you've had a complaint about it, we've heard you. We're working on better ways with them to do the construction, and we still think this is going to be a huge win for our community when it's done. But that is something that has not gone the way we anticipated. And finally, on community development, I'm going to talk a little bit about what everybody is talking about at some level, AI. And they're talking about it even if they don't know what they're talking about. It's one of the challenges of AI, try to define it. This is my new AI pen, right? So AI is a little out of control, but there is no doubt that there's enormous opportunity for us in Rancho Cordova. And so our city is determined to stay at the cutting edge of that and be really smart about how to do it. So we have led the way by adopting an artificial intelligence strategy that's going to hopefully enhance many of our city services and many of our operations. And to do that, we have invested in education for our staff about how AI might best be utilized. We want a more productive staff, we want a more productive city, we want to be able to enhance our service delivery, we want to be able to complete things faster and smarter. And so we have a AI framework we're working under, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to see improvements in that space throughout the city over time. So keep watching us on the AI front. We are a growing city. I mentioned some numbers earlier, I'm going to mention some more now. As your city continues its steady growth, programs designed to attract business and support our workforce are really important. A couple I will mention. The Jobs, Talent, and Attraction Program offers a $10,000 incentive per job created for wages over $100,000 in industries like semiconductor, data, technology, research and development, life sciences, engineering, precision manufacturing, and aerospace. So what does that translate to? If you're an employer and you're going to bring us hundreds or thousands of very high-paying jobs, that brings new revenue to the city. We will reimburse them for some of their investment costs here over a 5-year period. It's a huge net win for us. It's a big benefit to them getting started and getting that company off the ground here. We have partnered with, in addition to that, we have partnered with 10 different workforce training programs, and we have partners in that field here in Rancho Cordova. We've offered free training that 213 residents have taken advantage of. These are offered in areas like cybersecurity, data analytics, Salesforce, that technology, manufacturing, construction, and healthcare. 87 residents have completed a city workforce development program and have been hired at various companies. These include Solidyne, our giant semiconductor manufacturer across the street that just moved here last year, California Department of Real Estate, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Rescue Concrete, Amazon, Golden One Credit Union, TechNet, New Seed, Wycro Technologies, and even SMUD have taken advantage of the employees we have trained. So in the past fiscal year, the city has seen growth in business entrepreneurship, including both new businesses and expansion of existing businesses. So we've got to train the workforce to be sure that our entrepreneurial environment is competitive. That was the point of the workforce development. We've got to be sure we can attract new companies and large investments with that talent attraction program. And there are some examples of some companies here who are also engaged in building that entrepreneurial environment here in Rancho Cordova. Thermogenesis, a long-term Rancho Cordova company, has created 35,000 square feet of top-end lab space available to startups and entrepreneurs just off of Kilgore in Rancho Cordova in our business park. That is going to strengthen our life sciences sector enormously and make it possible to bring more life science companies and grow more life science companies here in Rancho Cordova. And then Solidyne, who I just mentioned, how many of you are aware of Solidyne moving into Rancho Cordova? I don't know how to emphasize what the impact of that is. All I can tell you is it's gigantic. It's probably more relevant than bigger than having a VSP here, which was the region's largest headquarters here in Rancho Cordova. VSP is still here. It probably rivals when Intel decided to move into Folsom and the impact that had. Solidyne chose Rancho Cordova as their world headquarters. Their world headquarters. And they are a leading manufacturer of computer chips, specifically memory. And that business is going to grow enormously, particularly if you think about AI and the demands that AI are placing on our infrastructure with data centers, et cetera. So they purchased and remodeled a 230,000 square foot R&D building, and basically have their R&D, their international R&D campus right here in Rancho Cordova with enormously high-paying jobs, thousands of jobs. That as a headquarters is going to draw additional spin-off companies around it. And it enhances the entire chip strategy for the Sacramento region, having Solidyne take up residence here. And as a matter of fact, a few of us from Rancho Cordova did a trip to Korea in August, and we had enormous access to some of the leading technology companies in Korea. And we have built a relationship that I can't tell you in great detail about, but I will tell you it's going to be enormously beneficial to the city of Rancho Cordova. We've had additional conversations. We're hoping we will have some really great announcements for you in the not so far future. In any case, that's a continued relationship between Rancho Cordova and Korea. And the ironic part of that is we have always been home to a large Korean contingent of business owners here in Rancho Cordova. You only have to look as far as KP International Market or the many other small businesses that are here in Rancho Cordova. So stay tuned there. That's very exciting news for us. So that enhances our entrepreneurial environment, but there's more. Clutch, a woman-owned consulting firm, has moved in right over there next to VSP. They established their headquarters in Rancho Cordova in 2024. That investment was made in tandem with Minervaverse. They're a startup accelerator for female-owned businesses. So that is going to further diversify and empower the local entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Rancho Cordova. So this is really an exciting time for our economic health. We are also seeing a continued surge in new small business. And I am not going to read all of these, but you will see some of your favorites, no doubt, up on this slide. So these are some of our new businesses that are coming in, everything from restaurants to distilleries to workout facilities. We've also got many businesses that are coming soon and have announced they're going to be here, such as the ever-popular Dutch Bros, for reasons I do not understand, but if you're under a certain age, I understand, is a big deal. Dutch Bros. I'm a little more excited about this one down here. Pickle, it's called the Pickler. It's like a gym, like an exercise gym, a workout facility designed around pickleball, to support pickleball. So pickleball is coming to Rancho Cordova, and that's, I think, a nationwide effort, and we're going to be like the Northern California hub for pickleball. So there we go. We have also seen enormous growth in housing in Rancho Cordova. New home builders last year pulled 1,100 building permits. 1,100 new home builds in Rancho Cordova. That is double what it was the previous year. So we can now say, given all the development in Rancho Cordova and in our new growth area, we've got a variety of housing for every budget and every lifestyle. We've got new single-family homes, of course, and 15 new developments. We've got planned executive homes in the pipeline. We've got new infill residential housing units, multifamily units available, and the first 55-plus age 55-plus apartment community is coming to Rancho Cordova. How many residential units do you think we have now? Class is in session. Any hands? Oh, Linda, you're cheating. Linda's pretty much right, 34,000. How many do you think we have planned? Linda's not allowed to answer. No city staff can answer.
47.
47,000 is the correct answer, but I think she looked at my slide. Cheating will pay, I suppose. All right, we have enormous growth coming. Now, what does that mean over the next 30 years? We got 34,000, we got another 47,000 coming. Our population is going to more than double. Think about the impact of that. Our population is going to more than double. That means we've got to be thinking really long-term all the time and very future-focused. Now, along with this growth, we have seen a very important statistic improve, and kind of shockingly improve. Residents' income has grown in Rancho Cordova by 9% just since 2002. Median income was $85,099, and by 2024, that is $91,797. That is a much higher average income than we have ever seen in Rancho Cordova, and we're sort of breaking out of the segment we were in Sacramento County. This means that we have more income to support a diversification of stores, restaurants, and all of those other quality of life things that require an independent business to operate. And that's probably why you saw on the previous slide more activity than normal with regard to small businesses starting. So our income is definitely headed in a very healthy direction. So a city is always at its strongest when their key needs are being met. Strengthening Rancho Cordova occurs on many fronts, and we use many tools. We offer programs that help residents keep their neighborhoods looking beautiful. We support leaders of tomorrow through the free Rancho Cordova Youth Center. And we are future forward when it comes to public safety, trying to ensure that we have the best technology and programs available to make our city even safer. So one example of strengthening our city with regard to safety and innovation is the Rancho Cordova Police Department's Real-Time Information Center. Our city's in the first stages of building the Real-Time Information Center, the RTIC, at the Rancho Cordova Police Department. It's going to enhance our ability to prevent and respond to criminal activities. These centers give our officers, they empower them, they give them the ability to stay ahead of events that are happening, to stay with events that are happening in real time. Phase 1 includes the city's fiber network and our traffic cameras. You've probably already seen those deployed throughout the city. You've seen the intersection, the larger than average camera up there. We've always had traffic cameras since we developed a fiber network to all of our signals. That is now much improved, and it's accessible to the police department. We're also looking at drone technology, and you've probably seen our marked camera trailers at various points around town. All of these information sources are going to be piped to the information center, eventually piped to cars and patrol vehicles, and it's going to allow our officers to review information after an event and monitor situations in real time. So as we expand that, the vision is to have a team, like in a room with giant screens, that can work together to solve things that are complicated and previously perhaps even unsolvable. You can just think about one technology that would be added to that, and that is the license plate reader technology. Imagine some vandalism occurred in your neighborhood in the middle of the night, and maybe someone's front porch camera got, boy, it was a white car. Right now, that would be unsolvable, essentially. Unsolvable. If there's a license plate reader, maybe at the entrance to a neighborhood, that license plate could be looked up. Now we're going to use all sorts of privacy measures. We're going to find the best standards and stick to those. But this technology is going to allow us to drive our crime rate down even more than we already have. At least that's what the theory is in the experiment. We'll have to wait and find out next time I'm there, maybe. All right. Next thing I want to mention is the Rancho Cordova Youth Center. How many people have been to the Rancho Cordova Youth Center or seen it? Oh my goodness. So it opened in the winter of 2023. We call it the RCYC. I like that name. It provides a free and safe environment for kids year-round for K-12 youth. Lots of programs, academic support, athletic programs, a lot of enrichment activities are happening at the youth center. It's city supported, it's city managed, and we have a partnership that is operated with the Boys and Girls Club and the Rancho Cordova Police Department Police Activities League, or PAL as we like to call it. Those two entities manage the facility along with a lot of enrichment partners. So since it opened, students have attended the RCYC almost 10,000 times. We have served about 450 youth and over 400 households in Rancho Cordova, and we're just getting started. It is not yet near capacity. So we have a lot of growth opportunity there. Some of the unique programs that students experience for free at the youth center include sports activities like basketball or martial arts, STEAM activities such as anime, character drawing, ceramics, design, but also STEM activities such as coding and robotics. And this spring, the RCYC is adding environmental science and a natural resources program for kids to experience at the RCYC. In another youth-focused effort, way back in 2017, Rancho Cordova funded the Rancho Cordova Promise Program. So today, this is sort of a first of its kind program in the Sacramento region. It offers any city resident who graduates from high school or residents who are veterans free access to 2 years of college for no tuition, free. And we support their books, we support their transportation to ensure that they have access to education. So this growing program is a partnership between us and Folsom Lake College. That's where you can be a student with our support. It has some really impressive outcomes that have just been reported to the city. Over 700 students have participated in the program. The Promise Program students, as reported, stay in school after their first year at double the rate of non-Promise Program students. So we've doubled the success rate for community college for these students. Also, student success rates in individual courses show that they're passing and they have grades 20% higher than non-Promise Program students. That is really impressive, and we are 7 years into that and looking for any opportunity to improve. We've also had a long-term effort, even longer-term effort, on growing strong neighborhoods. So keeping neighborhoods strong is absolutely a top priority for the city of Rancho Cordova. This is probably the closest calling we have to why we became a city in the first place, to strengthen our neighborhoods. The approach is multifaceted. It involves every department in the city. It involves lots of nonprofits. Frankly, it should involve all of us, because this is our city that we're trying to improve neighborhood by neighborhood, issue by issue. We've learned a thing or two about how to do this since we incorporated. A lot of mistakes I won't talk about along the way. Learning, I guess I should say. Good experiments we've learned a lot from. And the main culprit here that we are up against, as always, is disorder. People see disorder, they feel fear. They see disorder, they think, oh, there's crime. If there's disorder, crime is more likely. It's not a bad instinct for us to have when we see disorder. It's just our psychology. But it's also something we have to focus on to keep improving our community. So we've done a few innovative things in the past couple of years I want to talk about keeping our neighborhoods safe. One, the Rancho Cordova Police Department's proactive, data-driven approach has resulted in an enormous increase in safety in Rancho Cordova. We have seen significant year-over-year crime decreases in every major category, and I'm showing some of them up here. A 10% reduction in robberies in the last year, a 5% reduction in aggravated assaults, 35% reduction in burglaries, and a 6% reduction in property crime. Now those are incredible numbers. If you put those up against other communities in our region, you will not see a similar positive effect. And I want to thank our very hardworking team at the Rancho Cordova Police Department for these accomplishments. We are, if you haven't realized it before, becoming one of the safest communities in the Sacramento region. Second, also in the same effort, growing strong neighborhoods and keeping us safe and improving, our code enforcement team has launched a proactive, education-first approach that is yielding a resolution of code cases. So they're getting code reports, they're finding code issues, and resolving them at 4 times the rate of their previous efforts in the last year. The approach is efficient, it's goal-oriented, and it puts a focus on education over fines. We generate no real revenue from this, none that matters. It would be budget dust if there were some. This is about fixing a problem and educating people about it. It's about teaching people what it means to be a good neighbor in Rancho Cordova. Things like don't park your car on the lawn, mow your grass, and a few other things I'll talk about that we assist neighbors with. Also to help residents meet those code requirements when they have a difficulty meeting them on their own to maintain their property appropriately, our city offers beautification grants. So these include good neighbor assistance grants, chain link fence removal for free. You got a chain link fence you want out, we will just come and remove it, because that's generally sort of a blight on the neighborhood. We pay cash for clunkers if they have cars they need to get rid of and don't know what to do with. And we do free stump removal, tree stump removal. In addition to that, we have an urban forest program, and that is thriving. In the last fiscal year, we planted 450 trees. Basically, we have a free trees for residents program. If you want trees on your property, you can get 6 of, I think up to 6 of them from us to enhance your property. So there's no excuse for a stump or a lack of a tree where there should be a tree in Rancho Cordova. And because of our efforts, we planted 4,000 trees in Rancho Cordova, and for 7 years running, we've won an award called the Tree City USA designation. 7 years in a row. We are also building strong neighborhoods and growing strong neighborhoods by taking care of our pets and their owners. We do this by offering a lot of free city services and access to other opportunities for partnership. We've held 6 free pet vaccine clinics in the last year, administering 1,100 free vaccines and handing out 200 free microchips for pets. This is a partnership that we do with local veterinarians who are donating and volunteering their time to the program just as a service to our community. In addition, through the Animal Services Assistance Program, guess what that acronym is? ASAP! American Animal Services Assistance Program, great name. They received a grant for $210,000, helping 115 pet owners be able to pay for veterinary care for their ailing pets, as well as acquire needed pet supplies. So I want to thank our neighborhood services team for their outstanding work in innovating in so many areas, including getting grants and standing up the brand new ASAP program to help our residents where they saw a need. Well done. but no raises this week. Next week we'll talk. So we do a lot of innovative things, and there's one here that I really love. Do you know that about 3 times a year we move City Hall? Anybody been there and seen that? It has a name. It's called Good Neighbor Days. Good Neighbor Days. These are a relatively recent effort that have grown enormously and become really successful. We now have hundreds of residents joining us in neighborhood parks for a fun event that basically brings city services, city personnel directly into the neighborhood and builds a relationship between the residents and their partners in City Hall. This is a great way to bring business, residents, government, community together. We've also held our first ever Spring Service Day as part of this program this year, and we had 350 people who volunteered to work on 15 different projects throughout the city. These included things like building a community garden, making home repairs for needy residents, planting trees. This is the type of effort that supports partnership, pride in the community, and allows service. It allows all of us to work as partners in this city. It makes us stronger, it makes us more connected, it makes us better, and it improves life here in Rancho Cordova. So those of you who participated in those, thank you. If you haven't yet, there's huge opportunity in Good Neighbor Days and in our service day. Next, I want to talk a little bit about information. Now, providing information to residents and businesses and our community partners and the media and key stakeholders is sort of a non-stop job, but it's one that we take very seriously. And it's frankly a very difficult job because nationally we are at an all-time low in trust for information sources. It's for a variety of reasons I'm not going to go into. But we take that challenge really seriously at the city because local government is still the most trusted level of government in the United States, by far. And we don't want to squander that. We want to take advantage of that to enhance our partnership, city and residents, and resident and resident. So we're on a mission to do everything we can to enhance that. And we do a lot in order to get trusted information out to our residents and be sure they reach it. That information reaches you where you need it and where you want it. So we have digital newsletters that come directly to your email. We have printed materials that often go in mail to residents. We have many more cases, and we offer these in many languages. So there's really no excuse for a way to get a lot of information from the city. Here's some numbers to back that up. Our website had 280,000 visitors last year, 600,000 page views. RCPDs and the city's social media accounts have 50,000 followers. 50,000 in a city of our size. That's probably a record. We have 36 different digital newsletters that we put out. We have 15,000 subscribers to those newsletters. And an open rate, that means, so it came to your email address, but maybe you ignored it. The open rate for our newsletters is a shocking 49%. I know I do not open 49% of the email in my box. All the, sale this week, another sale, none of that gets open. But our stuff is open 49% of the time. That is way above the industry average. And also this year, the city, this is an amazing thing, created 150 different publications. So that's like every other day, we're putting out a new publication to be sure that our residents have as much information and as much clarity about what we're doing and what they're doing and how this partnership works as possible. So I really want to thank our communications staff for some outstanding work. But wait, there's more. If you don't want to travel to City Hall, we have 55,000 active users on our service that's called Rancho Cordova Online. Any Rancho Cordova Online users in here? Quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. So here's an example of how this works. Rancho Cordova Online was viewed 100,000 times this year, so 100,000 people basically came to it. That resulted in 5,000 permits being issued without people having to come to City Hall. So that happened remotely. 3,000 businesses and professional licenses were issued without people having to come to City Hall to do it. That's another example of how we're getting good information in people's hands and making tools available. The city also hosts some dedicated tools on the website to provide people the ability to access information about our meetings and watch them. So you can search for city laws, for maps, for public records. In addition, if you're looking for updates on a new business or a development that's going on in your neighborhood, as they file applications with us, you can go to our online source called View the Queue and check out the interactive map that includes businesses, permits, development projects. You get a bunch of details such as the project, the address, the description, the status, documents. You can even sign up to get updates when there are updates to the documents on a project. So I encourage you to think about that, check those out, and subscribe as long as you open the newsletters. The city is also committed to ensuring that residents and businesses are not only in the know about city projects, but they are invited to participate in the process. I spoke a little bit about this earlier. We had 20 community meetings and workshops last year, seeking to enhance our partnership. Throughout the last fiscal year, those subjects have ranged from how to best expend American Rescue Fund Act dollars that we still have remaining, to where should the bike trails go in the next trail update. I encourage you to continue your partnership with your city on those critical matters. So how does all of this add up in the end, because I am nearing the end? This all adds up to a higher quality of life. And our philosophy for that higher quality of life weighs heavily on one particular aspect where we have seen enormous success, and that's access to the arts, access to culture, access to events, sports activities, community events that are mostly free, diverse, and help our community thrive. So we have a partnership that is, I would almost say, world-renowned, because I have international followers who are interested in this. But certainly every civic leader who I've explained it to is enormously jealous about. And that is our partnership with the Cordova Community Council and our partnership with the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce. Those partnerships, though, even extend beyond that type of partnership, which most people here probably know about, extend beyond those organizations. The Mill Station Arts and Cultural Center, the MAC, technically part of the Cordova Community Council, excellent job. The Sacramento Children's Museum in our parking lot, an excellent partner. The Rancho Cordova River City Concert Band, the Rancho Cordova Symphony de Oro, Hummingbird Theater Company, which is here active in Rancho Cordova because of our patronship for the arts and support for the arts. The city is providing funding and other support for these organizations, making sure that the fabric of the arts stays strong in Rancho Cordova and that the culture of fun, even without explosives, remains high in our city. So in the last fiscal year, the city provided over $1.9 million to support these sorts of city partners. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about how we do that. So you've all heard of the Community Enhancement and Investment Fund. Is that true? Very good. So it was funded, of course, by Measures H and Measures R. Those are half-cent sales tax measures. It gives our city, those were not dollars, frankly, we needed for operations of the city. Those are dollars that enable us to do things that other cities can't do, to take advantage of opportunities that other cities can't, such as those I just mentioned. And I'm going to list quite a few more here so you get an idea of what those are like. Those measures were passed in 2014 and in 2020. These are grants occasionally to individuals, but mostly organizations, businesses, and community partners who are interested in enhancing Rancho Cordova through the arts, culture, history, entertainment, sports, education. Some of those grants go to improve city streets, make our neighborhoods safer, fund businesses, and even the job attraction programs I mentioned earlier. For example, in 23-24, we gave out 61 grants totaling $2.4 million in the arts, culture, history, entertainment, and sports category. This included things like support for, just a couple, the multicultural event Festival of Colors that many of you may have seen or participated in, and if so, you probably still show it somewhere, clothing or skin. Last year, we revamped the Cordova High School weight room. The weight room. Supporting every athlete at Cordova High School through revamping the weight room. And you know, interesting feedback we got. complaints from a neighboring city that will remain nameless that theirs didn't get upgraded. Oh, that's so terrible. Yeah, my heart. We offer a summer program for kids. It's called Summer at City Hall. It's through Crow Youth and Families. That's our partner in developing it. Teaching kids what local government's about. And they get to act out being council members and learn a lot about Rancho Cordova over the summer. It's a great summer program. We fund, this is just a list of some random things you may not have heard of before. We fund the Kiwanis vending machine at the RCYC because it is a book vending machine. And the books are free. Well, maybe there's a token involved. But in any case, they're free to the kid. These are some of the great things we support. We support the Whisker Warriors. You know about the Whisker Warriors? A huge volunteer partner with the city and animal services. Again, something everyone else, all my competing cities around the region, around the country would love to have the Whisker Warriors. We provide them with the ability to do free spay and neuter services for people who need it here for their pets. Sorry, for their pets. Speech is going long, I gotta be careful. I guess maybe my mouth was getting dry or something. Camera's gone? Okay, all right, excellent. That will not be on the news tonight. But we also support things like the Children's Museum, the middle school drumline at Cordova High, the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce Explore program, a program that welcomes every newcomer to Rancho Cordova with a Welcome to Rancho Cordova package saying, you're part of our community, here's all the things you can benefit from as a result of living here. We fund Rebuilding Together, which rebuilds homes for people who can't afford to do them on their own, and we support Blessings in a Backpack, which sends food home for kids who may not have a guaranteed meal over the weekend. Suffice it to say, infrastructure, public safety, jobs, economy, arts, youth, sports, all supported by Measure H and Measure R. We have very extensive reporting if you want to check it out on our city's website. We are very proud of those opportunities. So in closing, I just want to say that the experiment is working here in Rancho Cordova. The lab is a success. The future is bright. We are financially stable. We are strong. We are innovative. We are growing. We are trusted. And we are delivering a very high quality of life. The science experiment we've undertaken here since 2003 has resulted in many successful solutions and opportunities in our city. The amazing, the growing, the innovative, the city of Rancho Cordova that we all know and love. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being a part of this community.